Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us again for today at Tap In with Lissy Lou. Today, I've got here with us Helen, who's going to share with us about Bowen Therapy. Thank you for joining us, Helen.
Oh, hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, I'm so excited to learn about Bowen Therapy. Don't know much about it, and you have a global summit coming up. Would you like to share with us a bit about that?
Sure. In the coming days, in less than a week, we've got one of the largest online gathering of Bowen therapists from around the world. It's called the Bowen Global Summit, and the theme is Ignite Your Abundance.
And is that something online or in person?
It's actually online and it runs for 2 full days. We have interactive Q&A sessions in that. We have over 25 presenters, leaders in their field, and even in the scientific community. And then we have every day we release a video until the end of March. And then after that, for people who come on board to the summit, we're creating the Bowen Global Network, and that's a program that extends for 6 months. And that's sort of like supporting our community with, igniting their abundance and expanding their businesses, expanding their practices, and also, expanding their influence in the world.
That sounds amazing. So is this something for that anyone could tune into? Is it mainly for someone who practices in that field?
At the moment, like our predominant market has been Bowen therapists, but I co-founded the Natural Therapy Institute, so these events are a part of that, and really expanding further, I'd like to move more into special interest subjects in natural and holistic health. So really, it's designed for people who have developed a skill or something that they wish to share in the world, because a lot of practitioners, they've been practicing for, many years, and they've developed new skills or new courses or new insights to treat specific things. And so online platform is really for people to share their special interest subjects to other therapists, but also just broadly in the community. So that's really the foundations. In terms of the summit is open. Like we've got specific Bowen therapists, like subjects, but also there's only really a handful. A lot of them are very general. Say, for example, Alistair McLaughlin, he's developed scar tissue release. Now, scar tissue release is like, considering scars in treatment. It's actually for a lot of therapists. It's not just for Bowen therapists, it's for massage therapists. It's for, say, if you do trauma work, because obviously there's a lot of trauma tied into scars. And we have more than half is personal development, business development, and abundance. So, yes, it is available to everyone. But our market is pretty much, like Bowen therapy at the moment.
That's beautiful. So, my husband's an osteopath and he does different workshops and whatnot. So, could this be for like other,
Modalities.
yes, modalities
Yeah,
such as chiros or physical therapist, or what would you recommend?
it definitely could be because, you know, this is actually for Bowen therapists to expand. So Bowen therapy is just one little aspect, but in terms of osteochiro and many hands-on therapies, it's like you have a base therapy that you've learned. And a lot of chiros and osteos, they learn many different things. They learn tapping, they learn kinesiology, they learn, the Emmett technique, a lot of tools. Most people that are hands-on therapists actually have a lot of tools in their toolboxes. So we have, we're introducing Bowen therapists to other modalities and how it can be used, but it's the same with, say, if you do another modality, you can get a better understanding of Bowen or other representatives. Like we have, Sarah. Dr. Sarah Jane, and she's a chiropractor, and she founded, Spinal Energetics. And so she's talking about how do we create, a health empire. So, we have so chiropractors, we have the leading fascial specialist in the world, Dr. Schleip, who is actually, he led the way with us understanding, he's a pioneer. And so we have him talking about connective tissue fascia and how it impacts our immune system and our emotions, and what happens when we impact our connective tissue. We have, say, another leading expert in his field, and he's an anatomy specialist, and he's done a lot of dissections, and his name's John Sharkey, and he's really well known around the world. And he looks at connective tissue and consciousness. So we also have, someone else who developed fascial kinetics, and he's a mindfulness practitioner, but he looks is very much deeply into um, our connective tissue as bridging the gap between our conscious and our subconscious and our spirituality. So it's sort of it's a deeper look. It's not just and I think it's relevant for all therapists that are, the whole summit is really about abundance and getting to deepen your practice as a practitioner.
Beautiful. Wow. So, can we, just in case there's anyone listening to this podcast and they've never heard of Bowen therapy before, could you share to us a bit about what type of therapy it is?
Sure. Bowen therapy is a hands-on technique that is actually a soft tissue, and it's very gentle. But what it does is it stimulates the body to heal itself. And so it changes the brain. And we know that because of the results that we get are very fast, it results in structural realignment. So there's no force manipulation, but we're actually switching the brain over to rest, relax, repair, where it's like we're rebooting the network, because a lot of, all body function is controlled by the brain and the central nervous system. And so what Bowen does as its core is reboot that electrical system so that everything's firing. And so we have a result of every body function is increased, because when we switch the body into parasympathetic from sympathetic, now we have an increase in energy, and every body function is now optimized. So the energy that was going into in the stress response is now gone into self-healing and regulating everything. So this is an all system therapy, and it works instantaneously, and it holds for a long period. So it's interesting that a lot of people go to Bowen, they've never heard of it, as their last port of call. Look, I have tried everything. I've had how many treatments of chiro, and then I've had, this and that natural therapies and herbs and all this stuff. But it's quite interesting that when they try Bowen, it's in a very short space of time do they get a result. And I've tried so many therapies, and to be absolutely honest, there's nothing like it in the world. This is
Wow.
something, that's really fast. We are changing the whole neurology here. It's not like the practitioner is forcing like an outcome. It's like you are stimulating the person to self-heal, and that's where the power is.
Yes.
So that's why I'm so passionate to get this out to the world, because not only is chronic pain, chronic illness, the root of chronic illness, or the inability to heal from something really simple, is from the autonomic nervous system becoming dysfunctional. And what happened was from a person's life events, or the stress in the environment, or a buildup of trauma, now the system is out of balance. And we can meditate and do all these things, but it can it can be a long process. So Bowen is a really fast reboot, and it's like, okay, now how can I hold this? How can my body stay in this um rest, relax, repair, and I can self-regulate my own nervous system? So I'm really so that's what I do in my clinic is Bowen is a powerful tool, But the next step is, okay, how can I help people understand, like feel, really tune in to what it feels like? Because it actually affects the brain. Because when we're in like our self-healing, our brain's functioning different. We are connected to the cortex of the brain is functioning properly. We're not in limbic brain autopilot. Now you can get out of that stuckness and now move forward. So, I specialize in working with people with mental health issues as well, because the impact of Bowen for mental health is phenomenal. And so I'd like to get more people working with who are, work with mental health therapists around the world, um, to really understand how Bowen can really help their practice. Because, if we talk about like a lot of talking therapies, we can gain a lot of tools, but at the end of the day, if that person is their nervous system is not regulated, it's very difficult to implement those tools that we gain. And Bowen is just so effective. It's not intellectualizing anything. It's a somatic release. There's a somatic release in the body. And that's why it's an all system therapy that, is just so important. And I'd like really important to spread Bowen therapy around the world. And hence why I created this documentary, These Two Hands.
I'm so excited to watch that.
It is available on our platform. We're hoping with this summit, our aim was because the project was a 7-year project, it was a passion project, a huge investment. And so the summits, I have had, 3 summits so far. Uh, one, the Bowen and Beyond, and then the next one was the Bowen Wellness Summit. And then now this one is aiming to be the largest so that we can release it for free on YouTube and have it available for everyone, translated in 150 languages so people can share it all around the world. At every event, the aim was to, take the film to have it released onto, Film Freeway so that it had value. So it went through the festival stages and internationally it won 7 awards. And in 2023, it was acknowledged as the best documentary drama on Film Freeway. So, for us, that was a huge achievement and it was in a very important process. So the events really came, and the Natural Therapy Institute was born out of the evolution of creating this documentary, because we had to fund the completion of the documentary. It was a very complicated project integrating the story of Tom Bowen, the creator, who's Australian, and his life, and then into play, like, acting scenes, but also scientific and interviews. It's quite complicated, and the whole aim was not to preach to people who knew about Bowen, but to make it accessible to the public and interesting to the public. Not many people, I thought, would listen to, an interview focused documentary. So we wanted to really have that creative input, and I think that it really paid off.
Yeah, wow, that sounds exciting. Congratulations, by the way. I can't wait to
Okay.
watch it. And
Thank you.
I must admit, this global summit, I want to come and join just to learn more about bone therapy and everything that you were sharing before I related to, because I had an 8-year chronic pain. None of the traditional medical world could help me with. It was the holistic alternative health world that helped me. And so yeah, so anyone could tune in to this summit on YouTube.
The summit, no, the summit is actually for sale on our website, the Natural Therapy Institute. So the bowenglobalsummit.com.
No worries. And how much does that cost?
At the moment, it is. Ooh, I think it is like not exactly sure, but I think it's
I'm out. We'll put
I
that in
think
the
it's about
description.
um $420. And you then out of that, you get lifetime access, you get access to a supportive team for 6 months, and you get the movie as well of lifetime access.
Okay, cool. Excellent.
Yeah,
So I can see how this would benefit someone with a health modality who's looking for something extra to add on to their practice.
yeah.
So, and so when it's global, anyone in the world can tune in and log in and join.
Yeah, so we have, people from all around the world. Bowen therapy is really big in Bulgaria, Germany, Romania, the UK, Australia. We've got people joining from all around the world.
Yeah, beautiful. And are there live sessions? Are they all pre-recorded?
Basically, we have it streams live, and we have the interactive Q&A. All of the content is, put together and then it's live streamed because of the complexity, having over 25 presenters, Qigong, meditation, breath work. It's quite an intense day. So for us with the resources we have, that's kind of how we run it.
Beautiful. I'm excited there's Qigong in there. That's something I am very passionate about. So
Yeah.
awesome. Right. So we'll put some extra details in our description so people can click on that below. If you're watching on YouTube or even on Spotify or Audible, it'll be in the description below. So, Helen, what else can you share about the Global Summit coming up very shortly?
As I said, all proceeds to the summit go towards sustaining. Well, the main reason is to release these two hands film. I mean, that's really our aim, and we have a 400 challenge. If we can get 400 participants, we're going to release all until we achieve that. And then also, I'm committed to taking Bowen therapy to remote communities in Indigenous communities around the world. So that's a project that I've just launched. And, first it's going to be shared in Nepal, in a remote community in the hills in Nepal. I'd like to take it to South America, but that's a really big job in its own to kind of reach the Indigenous community in Australia. So and also to support our community grow and expand. So that's really a big focus of this event. And, you know, we work a lot in isolation. Like I know that, I'm a busy mum with 3 children, and I go into my clinic in Grafton, and often I'm working in isolation. And I feel that conversation and connection is really important. And I feel that keeping connected, there's the conversation, and it's a part of the creative process. So a lot happens when we come together with intention and connect, and there's a whole lot of energy that goes in when we're creating. So, even for myself, so I believe the power of intention and people coming together for a common goal. And I believe, this event, even creating it, the theme Ignite Your Abundance. And actually, every event that I've created was really um, the journey of what I wanted to create in my own life. And so this one was, I wanted to ignite abundance in happiness, health, and wealth because of my own challenges and my own struggles being a therapist, running a practice on a therapy that not many people know about in a conservative country town. And I also do, work with trauma release and so for me, a big part of it was to, I found through my journey that I burnt out, I burnt out from, treating people back to back or even, feeling my treatments like for many years, I almost gave up many times to be a therapist because just you don't have the sustained income, you don't know where the people are going to come from, the amount of energy to sustain a practice and the resources to even sustain a practice. So this event has come from wanting to expand myself, wanting to expand my own abundance in all those areas to to expand, but in a way that was in with grace and to respect my own boundaries and limitations, but be able to expand without burnout. That's the big thing. Like we're not, a lot of people we're living, I feel like in this time of shortage. It's like as a nuclear family, we're not in a tribe anymore to help each other. We've got so much to sustain in our own personal lives with children and be present for them and be there for our clients and um, to afford, prices are going up of things and to be, and look after our health and so it's a huge and to be our best selves in all that, to not be in survival mode and in the autopilot. So for me, this was about expanding myself and and leading and bringing community together. And I must say that the challenges that came to create that at every step of creating something, putting yourself out there, and even with the documentary, like, if I knew what I was going to go through to create the documentary, I probably wouldn't have done it, because you have this idea and then you go, wow, like I've got to, completing this project was a lot more than I thought, and the difficulties and the challenges you encounter through the process. I mean, I wouldn't take it back because I transformed in the process of creating. So for me, as I've created and even at every step of the way to, create the Natural Therapy Institute with my brother, to create the movie, to expand into these events, um, and even in my own practice, has required huge transformations. And so for me, I'm gathering as that's the focus point for therapists to expand and fill their cup, to connect and um, so that they can. It's such an important job to help others, and but we can help others at also at the sacrifice of ourselves. So actually balancing and knowing our self-worth, the what we bring to the world. And so for me, the biggest, I'm very passionate about the environment. My background is environmental science, and I started off doing, ecotourism and spent a lot of time in nature because I just wanted to work in the bush. I was brought up in the city, and my love for nature is my primary. Oh, of course, my community and family, but that is very. I very much value that in my life, and so for me, my way of contributing to the environment and community and where we're going is to help others transform. Because if we can't take care of ourselves, then it's very difficult to then look after the environment. It starts with the inner transformation, and then we can have the ripple effect into the environment and be present to what nature's trying to tell us to hear her call kind of thing.
Beautiful.
Um, yeah, so that's really at the foundation of my work.
Helen, you are an inspiration, and I relate deeply to your share. In fact, that's why I started this podcast channel is to share personal development journeys to help inspire others. So,
Mm.
yes. So back to your global summit. It starts in 6 days. Is that something that people need to start from day one, or can they join after the fact?
Live, it starts on the 22nd in the morning on the Saturday, but and then it goes through all weekend. But it's something they can watch anytime because a lot of people are busy. They may only have time to watch half of it. So actually they have access, a lifetime access, and also to the interactive, the connection through the network after that.
Yeah, beautiful. That's great. And so what else could people expect by joining this summit?
Can get a deeper understanding of the work that they do through, the latest fascial insights, and also have time to listen to, the people, the 25 plus presenters that we have, they're leaders in their field. They've done this for a long time, and to just be in their presence and learn from these experts, I think it's a journey that you expand yourself and expand your practice. And in particular, for us, expanding abundance in all areas, health, and also, finances, which for me, a lot of people that well, particularly I'm talking about myself. I had absolutely no business skills whatsoever. I had to get coaching every time I put my prices up. I had to get a coach, and yeah, it definitely wasn't my forte. I'm a very hands-on person. So, I've learned a lot myself just being, connecting with some of those power speakers. And so I think that you're really going to get so much out of this event for your own practice if you are a practitioner.
Yeah, wow, so many things people would get. How does it work, Helen?
It ranges from usually 30 minutes, half an hour to an hour. And they're presenting on, their special interest subject. And so you get to view that, and then you also get to connect with them and ask questions. So then we'll have Q&As after at different times. And so, and interactive activities or connecting opportunities from around the world as well. So that's kind of how it's laid out at
Yeah,
the event.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And like your example earlier, how you were working on your own in a small community, it's a way for other Bowen therapists to connect across the world, and they can do that through the summit as well.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to have a network, and then interactive calls, and obviously on the Q&A sessions, we'll have time to connect as well. And I suppose just building the network that is going to continue after. So through that network, we're going to have, the Zoom calls and opportunities. It's really a platform to connect and support them in their journey. So rather than just, stopping, we haven't had this before. So this is a new thing to extend it for 6 months to have ongoing support and mentoring for therapists around the world.
Excellent. So exciting. So, Helen, how can people get in touch with you to find out more?
If they want to email info at the Natural Therapy Institute, or they can leave a message, through Facebook or Instagram, and we'd be happy to help. And even looking at the website, they can look at more details there.
Excellent. Helen, is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
Oh, that's all. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's just great to be able to get, Bowen Therapy and this event out there so that we can, make a greater impact in the world. That's really the aim, and keep growing and keep doing the work. And, this is a really, 2025 is a really pivotal year. It's the year of transformation. There's a lot happening, and I think everybody's doing their little bit to do that, to create focus on the beauty and the magic and the abundance that's available in nature, to put more focus in the solutions, to uplift each other. Because, there's so much going on, there's problems and challenges that we're facing collectively, globally. And I feel that it's really important to connect and to keep focus on community and creation and creating a beautiful world, the world that we want. And I think healing is very important, a very important part of that process so that we can create the world that we want.
Yes, sister, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I can't wait to learn more. You've inspired me. And I'm excited to see what happens and to follow your journey. So I can't wait to have you on our show again so we can go deeper into your own personal development journey. We can talk about your documentary too. Excited about that.
Excellent.
So, yeah, thank you for today, Helen.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Alyssa. Really appreciate you having me on your podcast.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Helen. And yes, everyone, if you could give us a like, a share, comment below any questions, we would love that. So join us next time. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Yeah, bye.